friends. I'm going to go over what we went over in class today. So if you weren't in class, you'll have a solid explanation and understanding. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the elements of Project 3 and the due dates for that and all that jazz. So the timeline for the rest of the semester is we worked on the proposal today, which I'll show you and go over. Thursday, the proposal is due by class time, so you should come with your proposal completed. And then we'll talk about portfolio and the due dates and kind of give you a good rundown of that. I'm creating a portfolio like assignment sheet because I feel like we need it, and some of the information on the website I realized is kind of outdated and not quite accurate, so we'll go from there. So Project 3 is going to be a public-facing message. So what that means is you are going to create a piece of writing that is meant for a public audience, and it's going to be persuasive. So you get to take a stand on sociable robots. This is still about social robots. So previously, when you had talked about sociable robots, you were asked to kind of take a more exploratory, like neutral position. Now you get to pick a research question and decide what side you stand on. So this is basically, you're writing for a public audience. So what that means is that you're going to write for a general population, and you want this to reach and be understood by as many people as possible. So we're going to be focusing on audience and genre for this project. So it's going to be focused on how the information is presented, and that's going to largely depend on who you're presenting this information to. So genre and audience, very important. So what you are not writing is an essay. You are not writing an essay. Do not do it. You can do it if that helps you like figure out and organize your thoughts and ideas, but it is not a public-facing genre, and it will not fulfill the requirements for Project 3. So you're going to be creating something else, and it should be, more fun. Like, you should kind of be able to get creative with it. Okay, so these are some examples of public-facing genres. We have an Instagram post with multiple slides. We have an op-ed, which is an opinion editorial. We've read a few of those. A BuzzFeed article, so that could either be like the news article types, or it could be like a listicle, where it's, here's some text, here's an image, here's some text, here's an image. A blog post, so you could say you're talking about robots in education, you could create a blog post for an education blog. A pamphlet or a brochure, say you're talking about caregiving robots, and you want to either advertise for them or advertise against them. You could create a brochure that would then be in, say, like a doctor's office or a nursing home. An advertisement or copywriting. Say you're trying to sell sociable robots to somebody, or say you're trying to tell people to not buy them from a company. You could create something that's like a poster with all of the information on it. An informative slideshow. You could do a magazine feature. You could do a news article. You could do satire. Satire, I'd be super interested to see if you could actually do that for this project. I don't necessarily see how that would work out, but if you wanted to give it a shot and you figure out that you could do it, I would, go for it. Whatever you want. Okay, so here are some examples. So if my audience was going to be millennials, Gen Z, and young adults, I'd probably go with some Instagram posts. People are on Instagram, people are on Snapchat, people are on TikTok. So if you could figure, for our purposes, since it's mostly going to be text-based, I don't see how Snapchat or TikTok would really be a viable option for the amount of information that you have to provide. So I was kind of sticking with the Instagram posts idea, which you should have looked at via the Google form. Older millennials with children, teachers, parents. So a blog post on an education blog. Perfect. That's going to reach a lot of people, and then that blog gets shared around on social media. Young adults, an opinion essay on the Odyssey Online. The Odyssey Online is very similar to Medium, and where you can just kind of like sign up, you can make an account, and then you can just start, writing. Adults with children or adults with elderly parents, PSA, pamphlet in a doctor's office or old people's home. So you could do a pamphlet in which you advertise to parents sociable robots. You can say, hey, like, this is a great idea for your child. Does your child have autism? Like, maybe they could use this to help them understand social cues. High school students interested in STEM careers, that's where the presentation on PowerPoint or slides could come in. So say you're trying to be like, okay, this is an aspect that you guys could get into. This is an area of tech that we need people for because we're developing these sociable robots, and here's what they're like. And then parents with young children, so then you could create an infographic on the dangers of robot companions. You could create an infographic on the reasons why they should have robot companions. What you can see is that the genre is very important, and the format is what I'm looking for the most. And keeping in mind your audience is going to also help you figure out what your genre is. So then the proposal. So this is proposing what your research question and answer and the genre you're going to be using to complete the assignment. For our purposes, these are not the sources that you're using for your end project. The models that you're going to find on this worksheet are just to analyze. They're just to look at. They don't have to have anything to do with sociable robots for the proposal. We'll get to sources on Thursday. Don't worry about that right now. So the first step of the Project 3 proposal is going to be that you're going to determine what your research question is. So here are 4 examples. What you can see is that they're argumentative. So it's, should social robots be allowed to care for people who require caretakers? Should sociable robots be placed in nursing homes? Should is kind of your keyword here. And then you're going to answer that question. So say, I'll kind of do a sample of this. I'm going to pick this privacy one. So let's say sociable robots shouldn't, let's do this one. Should sociable robots be used in the service and retail industries in order to reduce staffing shortages? All right, I'm going to use this question. Hang on. Okay, so, all right, so I'm going to use that question. Sorry, I realized I didn't make a copy. And then I'm going to answer that question. So I'm going to say, for jobs that are, I'm going to say no. So I'm going to say robots should not replace people in the service and retail industries. The human beings should just be paid more. Nice. Okay, so what audiences will be most interested in this topic? Probably people in retail and in restaurants and other service industries. A lot of this are going to be younger people. Younger people or, yeah, younger people. Let's say that's my focus, right? It's going to be people like me. So how are you most likely to have your written word reach them? All right, I'm going to say social media. I'm going to make an Instagram post. Instagram post, you can kind of brainstorm a couple of ideas. So an Instagram post, maybe an op-ed, or let's see. I think an Instagram post would best draw my audience in because it's quick, it's quicker to read, it'll be aesthetically pleasing, and it'll just pop up. It'll like pop up for them while they scroll. So like an Instagram post is an easy one just because like you're gonna be on Instagram anyway. So if you want to reach people, you go to social media. Where is the genre typically published? Instagram. If you were to have something like an op-ed, then for an op-ed you could say New York Times, you could say Philadelphia Inquirer, you could say Courier Post, you could say Washington Post, and then you kind of can look into different things. What is the purpose in writing in this genre? To reach a lot of people and for entertainment purposes. So Instagram has only recently become, more informative, but even so, like it's not. Like it's still social media, so it's still very much like I'm sharing this information about myself, or like I'm trying to get Instagram famous. I don't know. Why does this genre exist? So the social cultural function of Instagram is for entertainment purposes to not be bored, essentially. The easiest way to get people to click on things like that in Instagram is to fire them up. So if you say something a little inflammatory, normally people will look for it. Not saying to go like crazy, but that's normally how it works. What kind of audience views this genre? I would say young people up to older millennials. I think more young people end up on TikTok at this point. But Instagram really is like the most wide ranging of ages. But it's going to not be like my mom, who is 57, like isn't really on Instagram. She's on it, but it's like she's not really on. Okay, then we're gonna analyze some models. So I'm gonna look for some Instagram posts. Instagrams on, let's just say tech. Right. Search Google. So we can look at this, right? I don't want that. I want the Instagram. Okay, Tech Insider. That works. All right, so we're gonna look at Tech Insider. We're gonna say, we'll look at this one because this one looks like it's a slide. So this one's about Ukraine's IT, IT people who are still working. So you can see that the slides are one way. They also have a caption. So if you wanted to actually post this on Instagram, you could, and you could include this caption aspect, which I think would be an important part. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take this link, I'm gonna go to my proposal, I'm gonna insert the link under source one. Again, this doesn't have to do with anything to do with social robots. You're just looking at the formatting. So then I'm gonna say, okay, so we have, I'm gonna close that a little bit. Okay, so we have the title. Many of Ukraine's 285,000 IT specialists are still working as the war rages around them. I'm gonna flip. Keeping their focus, this is the poll. More than 70% of IT professionals are working from the safe regions of Ukraine, but air raid sirens still go off in those areas. They add a quote from somebody, and then they provide ultimately, however, amid the uncertainties of war, some Ukrainian IT firms are losing business. Because of business risk, a lot of companies just cut down on outsourcing to Ukraine, blah, 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 blah. They also do the link in bio, so you can read the whole article. Tech Insider is actually a tech blog / news site. So you can see more information, but you kind of get the gist. So if I go here, right, what sort of ideas or information are covered or included? So it's real-time news and real-time news on technology. That's what I'm looking at. What is the layout like? So there are 3 slides. There aren't that many words on it. There's a lot of white space. Are there any images? So images, the first slide starts with an image of an IT guy from Ukraine working. Which appeals are used the most and how? So I would say, let's go back. We have a quote. I can only describe it as mental strength and fortitude. That's kind of pathos. This is logos, we're being given data. And we're cutting down on staff. So I'm going to say, I'm going to say pathos and logos. I think it's an equal amount. They use percentages to describe how many people are still working. They quote an IT CEO who says that their IT people are IT guy, IT person, that their IT people are still working because they are strong. What kind of voice is used? So let's check out the voice. So ultimately, however, amid the uncertainties of war, some Ukrainian IT firms are losing business. I think that sentence alone gives me a pretty good idea. So it's like accessible, right? Like we can read it and understand it, but more formal. So that one's more newsy, right? It's more like ultimately, it's not like, even though we're a little scared, it's like the words are a little more formal. What pronouns are used? Not really pronouns. What verb tense? More than are working. So we're talking in present tense. Present tense, and the sentences are more simple than complex. Complex sentences essentially means that like you add on like a conjunction when you say even though blah blah blah, comma, blah 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 blah. That's a complex sentence. It's when it's like using dependent clauses. Does it use technical terminology or jargon, or does it use layperson's terms? It uses layperson's terms, right? Because it's not because IT professionals are working from the safe regions of Ukraine, but air raid sirens still go off in those areas. It's not saying that, it's not providing technical terms for what's happening in the war. It's not using technical jargon in terms of what IT people do. Layperson's terms, so that way it's easy to understand. So then you're gonna find a second source, you're gonna do the same thing, right? And that's pretty much the proposal. That's what you have to look for. If you need help with questions, the link is on the proposal. So we brainstormed, we talked about questions, and that's pretty much it. If you have questions about what Project Free is about, please let me know. But the proposal is due by class time on Thursday. So just make sure that gets done, and that's it. Bye-bye.